This is another sketchbook tour or a journal tour or a book tour. I feel like these are books that I put together over the years. This takes me years to put these together. And they are filled with things from many different years and different styles that I put together. All of these have something that I created. This one for a blues type of a thing that I wanted to do, a t-shirt. These are part of a series that I've done called Mammals. They're just kind of caricatures of faces because I really love doing faces. As you see, I have a lot of faces drawn in different styles throughout this journal and many of my other ones. Interested in faces. This is a drawing I did of my brother. This is a woman that I just kind of made up. This is a thing I did for an illustration. It's the back of their, it's on their website, and it was kind of divided up into sections of where the money was going in their donation department. It's kind of a fun way to say it. This is a photograph of a guy's studio that it's kind of thrown together. You can kind of see his feet. He's a painter too, and these pieces of Bob Marley and some of his abstract work in there. It's kind of nice. These are kind of faces thing that I always do, caricatures of faces. This is a painting I did probably in mid-90s, late 90s. It's a big painting that I had. It was hanging in a doctor's office for a while, and I have no idea who has it now. I think the doctor gave it away to somebody else, or maybe he still has it. I'd like to know where it is. I'd even like to have it back. Anyway, whatever. This illustration I did for, I can't remember what magazine. I think it was Country magazine. It's a friend of mine, a portrait of a elder illustrator that I knew. I know him and his son, Phil. This is Harry Bliss. Very, very accomplished illustrator. He's no longer with us. Phil is also a very accomplished illustrator. This is some of the faces that I had in the last piece, kind of blown up. There's another part of it. There's that section there, blown up behind here. And this drawing of a kid in a costume. This is a Scratchboard piece that I colorized on the computer and then printed out. This piece I did a print of. There's from a modeling session that I was part of, and it's an illustration for kind of throwing out data. You notice there's a computer over here and all that kind of thing. This was one on an illustration I did on like people that look for positive things to fill them up. God or whatever, spiritual types of things that fill their hearts up. It's funny. I don't know what I did it for at the time. Peace Path. That was a design for a t-shirt I wanted to do and never did. This was a kind of just an experimental piece that I painted, and then I I cut up a bunch of Keith Haring's, one of his prints, and just kind of stuck it on the side. That'll look cool. This was a demo I did for somebody, showing them how to draw a still life and get positive, negative shapes and contour drawing. There's Fred the chicken head again. This is a facade. This was taken by my grandfather in India. My grandfather and grandmother spent many years in India, and they spent many years in Korea too, setting up paper mills. Or helping them construct them. This is a piece I did for, it was a piece on control and being out of control. And this is this is all made up of the word control. If you look at it real closely, you can see just control over and over and over again. This is a page that one of my students that I was teaching in this group class, we were filling up our journals. I was teaching them how to fill the page in the journal and showing them like this. One of the students asked if they could do the page, and I said sure, and they did. Love Ganesh, the elephant. I just love the imagery of the elephant. I have a big connection with elephants for some reason. I just really like their nature. It's a piece somebody gave me. I just thought it was really interesting, the paper that it was done on. I'm not sure what country that was. I think it's South American, maybe. This is some stuff I did for Keela, my niece, who had a foundation and that ran for years. We raised money for a school over in Kenya. This piece I actually cut out of like a plywood, like a finished piece of, I think maybe it was even masonite that I cut it out. I cut out all the white areas and then, painted this dark. And it's kind of it's kind of a story of a, little bumpkin going to the city, with this. That's what I felt like when I went to college. From a little town to a big city. This is a piece I did for a friend of mine in college. It's a photograph of it as a bigger painting. A friend of mine, Pete, that I just loved Jordan. Like a lot of, a lot of the people in college when I was in college in the 80s were huge fans of Jordan's. It's a portrait of my son when he was younger. Jackson. This is another Scratchboard piece. This is the actual Scratchboard piece itself. You can see the Scratchboard. It's like a illustration board, but it's coated with a clay coating that you can scratch away. So you can put ink down black and then scratch away the white out of it. This was a piece on like the whole idea of rebirth. Obviously butterflies are a huge symbol for that, but it's going from night to day type of enlightening part. I don't know. That type of thing. This is Scratchboard piece 2. And this is a drawing I did for t-shirt for a Loggers Association. Do t-shirts for them every year. Northeast Loggers Association, and that was one of the images that ran in their publication. This is just a mishmash of just kind of drawing, having this book with me and making up things. And then when I see people in a position where they're sitting for a while, I can do a still photo of them. I can do a still life of them. Like I said, people's faces are interesting to me. Patterns are interesting to me. It's my father relaxing in the summertime. This is a guy I spent hospice with. Get his information out. Anyway, he's no longer with us. Very kind gentleman. This is a friend of mine that passed away, and a friend of his asked me if I would do a portrait of him, which I did, and they gave this out at his funeral. And I got requests for it years later from people. Do you have this portrait? Can I get a copy of it? So this is another kind of ad I was trying to do with a beer company was asking me to do. And this never went through, but I guess Jefferson was a big beer drinker. So it's just kind of, yeah. Anyway, this is made of cardboard that I cut out. You can see it's kind of glued in here. And obviously I've done this imagery bigger in things. I've also cut it out in a bigger way, but I always think it looks cool when you can see through stuff. I love the way this guy, I saw this in a photograph and just kind of drew him. Just love it. This is how I sit a lot, cross-legged and kind of relaxing. This is a portrait I did and then glued in here after I finished it, but this is John Brown's wife. And then I put this cartoon over their head, which I thought was pretty funny. I like playing around with these types of things too. Abstract piece I did, I just thought it looked cool. It's like kind of like a creature. This is an ad that I did with my rep. It's a postcard. I was trying to publicize my portraiture stuff. This was a Fisher. His name was Fisher in Kenya when I was there. The son of the lady that ran the school that we were supporting. They used to call him Fishy Fish. And he's Christian, so he did this. He wanted this logo in it. And this is the other side of the postcard. A friend of mine who's a musician, he asked me to do a portrait of him. I did. Obviously Einstein. I did a whole bunch of quote posters at one point, which I'm going to have to give away on my website if educators want to print them out. There's another painting that I did. I'm trying to think what year that was. 04, 05. I did some big paintings of masks. I was really into masks for a long time. Patterning, portraiture again, quotes. These are images that I drew from when I was living in the Seychelles. I just love the way people would just walk from downtown up into the mountains, which is where we lived. So I saw a lot of people walking up with fish in bags. They were, going home to eat, mothers with their children. This was the little neighborhood that when we moved there for the first time, we lived in this little kind of like I don't know what it was, like kind of a hotel, but you take care of all your meals yourself and all that. And right down the road was this little shop, and then it was just a walk to the beach. You just walk down this street, and it was right, the beach was right there. And they would have guys coming in the morning. We would go and walk on the beach and walk in the water, and these fish would come. Same fish every day. You could see them. The same colored fish. They would come and they would, off of my feet, they would like nibble. I don't know why mine so much, because my wife was in there too, and they wouldn't come to her feet. I don't know why. Anyway, they would be bringing fish in from the ocean, these guys, and just basically selling it right on the side of the road for people that were coming through. Would pull over and buy some fish for the day and go home and cook it at the end of the day or the beginning. There was an art institute right like through the woods that you could walk to. I ended up trying to teach classes there, but they didn't have any openings. And then there was this little pizza place too that we used to go to. And then buses running back and forth between the downtown area and where we were. Another one of the quotes that I was thinking about doing, sketches, little painting that I popped in there. These were little things that I was thinking about doing for my website. Way back when I had an Etsy shop and a Behance shop and Facebook and my website. And, this was a piece I did in college when I was in graduate school. There's a place in Washington, D.C. where I was going to school, right up the road from GW where I was going, and it was called Commander Salamanders, and I did a bunch of t-shirt designs for them when I was starting my illustration career. This was one of them. There's another kind of picture of him straight on. I kind of made him up. These are abstract pieces that I just play around with. Here's another one that I drew up. And I do them on canvas. I don't know why, I just love the way these look, the thickness of them, and the way they feel. That is the end of this book. This is just a conglomeration of patterns and stuff that I stuck together. It's a portrait of a guy in Kuala Lumpur that I got to know, another artist. This is just one of the kind of fun. This is a watercolor. I'm playing around with it on certain kind of paper. These were designs that I copied. They were in a museum in Inuit art in Vermont. These were actually, I think this was it was like a ceramic plate design. I think this might have been stained glass or something, but I was just so enthralled with them that I wanted to copy them there. And there's another one of my little kind of abstract things. That is that. Ooh, look. Love them when they get like this. It's just so nice too. I don't know, just the textures and the feel of them, and like you can tell they've been used and worked on for years, you know. But thanks for watching.